Welcome, everybody. Today, we are going to talk about why a 5 month old may not be able to roll from their belly to their back. So, there are a few different reasons for this, and it's really baby specific. So, today we're just going to talk about a couple of potential reasons, and we're also going to go through how you would use this book if you found yourself in the same situation. So, this is my newest book, Tummy Time and Learning to Roll, a baby development book for ambitious parents and pediatric healthcare providers to help babies learn to roll independently. And when babies are rolling from their belly to their back, there are a lot of different things that they need to be able to do. And a 5 month old is really the age where you kind of have about 4 weeks for you to do some really strategic exercises, play positions, and things like that before you start becoming at risk where that rolling could impact future milestones. So, the future milestones that we would talk about is sitting independently, that's the biggest one at around 6 to 9 months. Now, 9 months plus, you have a lot of milestones that are compacted in a very small space. So you go from going from your back to sitting up independently, you go into crawling, you go into pulling to stand, standing with support, cruising, and then 12 to 16 months, you go into walking. So when you look at each stage, 3 to 6 months is really 3 months focused on rolling. 6 to 9 months is really 3 months focused on sitting. But 9 to 11 months is 3 months focused on a lot of different things. And so if your baby is showing any signs or any struggles, especially in that 5 month range, it's really in your best interest to make sure that they are given all of the opportunity to be able to master rolling so that it doesn't potentially impact things further down the road. When babies are struggling rolling belly to back specifically, a lot of times they have also struggled with tummy time. So, tummy time is one of the four play positions that babies really need in order to build up the strength for rolling from belly to back. So, you've got tummy time, you've got sideline play with their right arm on the ground, and you've got sideline play with their left arm on the ground, and you have back play. So, those are the four proactive play positions from newborn to really they are able to roll and then get into crawling. So really from 0 to about like 7 to 9 months, those are the play positions in which babies develop the strength in order to do some of these more dynamic motions like rolling, sitting, crawling, things like that. So just if you are like, hey, my baby's 5 months and they're not rolling belly to back and you want the ultimate solution, this is the book for you. The link is in the description, and I'm going to show you how to use it so that you can focus on getting these babies rolling belly to back. So if your baby is 5 months and no one has ever taught you that, make sure my mic is still on, that sideline play, back play, and tummy time are really important developmentally, you're going to want to go and learn about those play positions specifically. So the biggest one is going to be sideline play. That's the one I find that most parents are not taught. It's just something that likely falls through the cracks during developmental appointments, and pediatricians in their schooling aren't always taught all of these play positions either. So it's really kind of a global healthcare consideration that we are trying to solve together. So you're going to go through here, and first you're going to have all of the play positions for tummy time and the modifications that you can do, and why modifications where the shoulders are above the level of the hips may be necessary for a kiddo. So specifically, if your kiddo is 5 months and they're not rolling and they're also struggling to get their elbows to the front of their shoulders and a little bit to the side to really push through those shoulders in that position, then you're going to want to start with some of the modified positions so that then they can build up to about 10 to 15 minutes of tolerable tummy time. So that's going to be your first kind of plan of attack. All right, hey, is my baby able to tolerate 10 to 15 minutes of tummy time? And let me look through all of the tummy time play positions and try a couple out and see which ones my baby tolerates the best. Then you're going to go, the next section is side lying play. So you can see in this picture here where the baby is lying on their right side and they're propped up on their back by their mom's leg. So that is going to be one position for side lying play that you can try. That one gives a little bit more support and is great for babies who struggle and kind of try to roll out of side lying play on their back. Roll out of side lying play onto their back. A lot of times lying on their back is the easiest out of all four of the positions. So you may find that your baby likes one side lying position and back play, but struggles with the other side lying position and tummy time. And those are just data points that give you a little bit more information so that you can make different decisions and be more strategic, which is great. So if a baby is struggling on one side, it could be because of trunk tightness, or it could be because of trunk or neck weakness. So there are multiple kind of reasons for that. But in this book, it does show you some mobility screens that you can do, as well as strengthening exercises. So you can kind of try to tease that out on your own, which is really great. But again, if you are finding like, hey, this is really a struggle, I love this book, it has a ton of resources, but I think I need a little bit more, you can always reach out to a pediatric physical therapist. They're going to be the experts that will help you figure out exactly what is the missing piece for your specific baby. And I always recommend that. So again, here's kind of some back play pictures. And then here is some sideline play pictures. We have all the way from newborns up until kind of like 4, 5, 6 months. And there's just tons of different positions. This one's really great, especially for rolling from back to belly. That's not what we're covering in this video, but it's a great way for you guys to kind of just know that sideline play is great for belly to back, but it's also really important for back to belly. So it does cover all of those things. Okay, so let's go through the checklist for belly to back. So if you know, hey, my 5-month-old doing great back to belly, but for whatever reason, belly to back, just not showing signs of this kind of motion on their own, what can I do? You're going to want to go to the checklist. The checklists are always where I would start after you educate yourself on the proactive play positions, lying on their back, lying on each side, and tummy time, and you kind of try those out. The next thing I would do, if you're not going to just read the book front to cover or cover to back, is to go to the checklist, because this is where you can be really strategic, right? So you can use this book more as a workbook if you need to. So rolling belly to back, checklist and guidelines. Can your baby be in tummy time for 10 to 15 minutes? If unchecked, start at the tummy time section. So that is definitely endurance related. It could be just they just haven't had enough experience in tummy time. They need a little bit more support. We're not doing it long enough, so we haven't given those muscles the opportunity to build up enough strength yet. It can also be some other reasons too. So we kind of go through those. So, okay, yes or no, can we do that? Okay, now we go back to the tummy time section and we focus on that. Okay, we're seeing a couple other things. So let's continue on that checklist. Push through elbows to lift the chest off the ground and hold the position for 2 to 5 minutes or longer. So if unchecked, start at tummy time and strength arm section. So can the baby actually push the ground away to lift their trunk up? So that requires extension through the neck, but also the upper back. And it also requires engagement and pushing through these shoulders, because the ground produces a force through your elbow, and your elbow needs to be able to push into the ground to meet that force in order for a baby to stay in that position. If they don't have enough strength or mobility in order to activate their shoulder to push the ground away, to lift their upper chest area, then they may struggle with other motions, but also it may be because there's tightness in the front of the chest or weakness in the shoulder girdle. Can they turn their head to 90 degrees while on their belly to look in both directions? So if they're on their belly, pushing through their shoulders, can they turn their head to the left to say, oh, there's a toy over there, or there's a mom over there, or there's a dog over there? And can they turn their head to the right in both directions? So babies should be able to rotate their head in both directions equally. If unchecked, start at mobility head neck and strength head neck sections. Can they lift one arm to reach a toy while still maintaining the other elbow on the ground and the chest lifted? So this is one of my favorite exercises, and I just was creating some Pinterest pins for it today, but I wanted to share it with you guys because I love it so much. And if you have the book, you get access to the free video course. So then you'll be able to see this video and it'll walk you through. But basically, you're shifting the baby's weight over a stabilized elbow and helping them reach for a toy. This is so important. It's really a precursor to rolling because you have to be able to shift your weight over your elbow to reach to then be able to rotate that upper trunk. So that is super important. And then the last one is upper trunk rotation equal in both directions. So this is something that is not commonly taught to parents, but I love to teach my parents this. Your body is basically two halves. You've got the upper half, belly button and up, and the lower half, belly button and down. And you can rotate the upper half while keeping the lower half stable. So right now my knees are facing you guys, and I'm going to turn my shoulders facing the right. Now my upper trunk is in right rotation, but my lower trunk is still facing towards you. You can do the same thing to the left. So my knees are still facing you. I'm going to rotate my shoulders to the left. My upper trunk is going to the left, but my knees are still facing you. So it kind of like looks like you're just going to hand someone something behind you, but your legs and your hips stay steady. This is really important because when a baby goes from laying on their belly, they have to push off one elbow or relax that elbow. Either way, they have to rotate backwards behind them. So depending on what arm it is, the baby may show different restrictions, right? So if you go to the biomechanics section, let's see, we are upper trunk. Let me just gotta make sure. Belly to back. Okay, upper trunk. So what is upper trunk? If the baby is limited in right upper trunk rotation, so their shoulders have a hard time going to the right, when they are rolling from their belly to back over their right arm, so the right arm stays on the ground, they reach with their left arm, their neck goes to the left. They will likely be able to do that way because that's the easy way. Going to the left is easy, but going to the right is harder. But they might not be able to go from their left arm over because they may have a hard time going in that right direction. So this really kind of breaks down. It's a little bit easier to read it versus read it and then explain it to you guys at the same time. But basically, if a baby is limited in right upper trunk rotation, they will likely be able to roll from belly to back over their right arm because that is left upper trunk rotation, with their neck rotated to the left, reaching with their left arm, but not from belly to back over their left arm. Right rotation of the upper trunk with their neck and right rotation reaching with their right arm. And this is really a lot easier. I have pictures that kind of break it down for you guys to see. And then also the video course is really where it's going to be at. Again, it's free and you get access with it when you purchase the book. The link is in the description. But that is how you can kind of look at, hey, does my baby have all of these things in the checklist? And again, in the video course, that's free. You have printable PDFs of these checklists. So that's really easy, right? They have bigger boxes that you can check it off. It shows you exactly where you need to start if something is not checked. And in the back, it will show you too. That's neck strength. I got core strength, arm strength, and then we got mobility. So we've got pictures of what normal mobility looks like, mobility of the neck, extension of the neck, and then we've got arm mobility, because that's important too, because in order to be able to use your shoulder muscles, you have to be able to raise your arms. And then we've got kind of that upper trunk mobility in sitting if your baby has enough head control, or in lying down if they don't. Or if you want to do both, I encourage parents to do both directions. And then exercises on how to do that, including one of my other favorites, which is lying on the side and just doing an open book exercise. So again, there's all videos of all of that. And that is kind of how I would look at, is a baby struggling going from their belly to their back, and how I've broken it down in the book so that you really can kind of go step by step and rule things in or out. And then it gives you a place to start, and then try a couple of those exercises. I always recommend my families pick 3 exercises, focus on it for about 20 to 30 minutes a day. And then those exercises will start to just become natural for you, because they'll just kind of feel like play, because honestly, you're just strategically playing with your baby. And so you're just placing them in certain positions, like again, that picture where they're lying on their side and they're opening up. So you're going to have a toy and they're going to try to reach for it. And then you're going to kind of hold them there for a couple of seconds or a minute. And then they may be like, hey, I really want to put that toy in my mouth. So, you bring it closer to their hand, they grab the toy, they kind of come out of that position, go back to their side, play with it. Maybe it's 1 to 2 minutes on each side. And then you kind of move on to the next activity, and you just incorporate those as the baby tolerates them. You have an entire toolkit here to help you have different exercises. So if one isn't quite tolerated that day, or not at all, there's modifications for the exercises in here, just places that you can start. Now, if you do that, your baby's 5 months, they're not rolling from belly to back, you do these exercises, and by 6 months, they're still not quite there. That is when I would recommend reaching out to a pediatric physical therapist, just to make sure that there is nothing missing in the ability of the child from a rotation standpoint. Sometimes you just need some body work done, some manual therapy on the baby, really, really gentle, almost like just like touching butterfly wings status, super gentle for babies. But sometimes those restrictions are just there and they need just a little bit more help. Like most children need swim instructors. And so that's how us physical therapists see ourselves, especially in the pediatric community, is we're just here to kind of fill in some gaps if babies aren't quite there yet at that specific stage. And we can kind of help fill in those gaps of those movement skills so that they don't hold them back at those future milestones, and that we can kind of address them, nip them in the bud, and get on our way. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm going to double check the other places that I posted questions. I just was so excited that I forgot to check them before I started. Okay. See, we're good there. And then we'll try one more. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to drop questions. If you're on the replay, make sure that you drop any questions you have in the comments, and I will be sure to answer those and make sure that you have the resources that you need, and that you have any specific situations that we can address those or point you in the direction of someone who can. Okay, so I think we are good on questions. Again, anytime you watch this tomorrow, 5 years from now, drop some questions in the comments and I'll make sure to get back to you guys. Thanks for joining me and have an awesome day.